Those who criticize our generation forget who raised it, and also forget, or just don't have a clue, what position they have left us in. So it is our turn now to fix what has been done, and we must stand up, and we must stand up quickly for our next generation, for our grandchildren, before it's too late. So I just want to ask you one question, and that question is, what does freedom mean to you?
This is an endorsement for fair coverage, and there is no question the congressman isn't getting it. Consider the fact that during Saturday's CBS debate in South Carolina, 7 minutes and 45 seconds worth of time was allotted to Rick Perry. 5 minutes and 45 seconds worth of time to Rick Santorum, who was polling at nearly the last place among presidential contenders. In comparison, Ron Paul got a whopping 89 seconds worth of time. Does that seem like fair coverage? And that is Reality Check.
I have gotten a ton of email today from people saying, look, Ron Paul finished 152 votes behind Michelle Bachmann of the Ames Straw Poll, basically a dead heat. Why aren't we giving him his due?
Ron Paul is not going to be president of the United States.
If our views, keep growing in popularity as they are, it's a real threat to the establishment. So the establishment is well protected in many of those individuals that control the 5 major networks.
Let's talk about Ron Paul, because he just won another straw poll in California, and he keeps winning straw polls, but I guess if history is any gauge, it doesn't really mean very much.
Anyone get the sense Ron Paul, like crazy Uncle Ron? Listen, I've done a show on why conservatives shouldn't vote for Ron Paul.
Poll: Romney leads New Hampshire, Huntsman third, Perry fourth. Now, do they know how to count? Why would they omit saying who was in second?
Well, you know why? Ron Paul.
All right, my dumbest thing of the week is Ron Paul.
The winner is Ron Paul with 32%.
Ron Paul did not win, in my opinion, by any... As a matter of fact, I think he lost the debate. I think all of us could make the case for anyone, maybe except with the exception of Ron Paul. We can make the case that any Republican right now can win this race.
Another question about electability. Do you have any, sir? There's always the question as to whether or not you are, in fact, viable.
What's success for you in this campaign?
What's success? Well, to win is one is the goal.
That's not going to happen.
You don't need a majority. You need, what he said, was an irate, tireless minority willing to start the brush fires of freedom in the minds of man.
I am gaining recognition in the campaign, and it's a threat to a lot of people. It's a threat to the military-industrial complex. It's a threat to the bankers, the big corporations who get all the benefit. It's a threat to the people who preach that we have to be in the world and be in all these countries. So I think it's big banks, big money, big corporations, and the people who want to be the warmongers.
heart and in his head, in his character and in his intellect, in what he has done and in what he will become. the Thomas Jefferson of our day, Ron Paul, is one of us.
Why are they so scared of Ron Paul? Well, the ruling class of this country, the Fortune 100, the private Federal Reserve, have amassed their wealth through monopoly. They've amassed their wealth through insider, anti-capitalist, crony systems. And now their system is basically imploding because of their corrupt policies and activities and looting. And here's Ron Paul, who's called it every step of the way with incredible precision, who has the constitutional answers to get our country back on the right track, and the system is scared to death. They're like vampires faced with a cross or holy water or a truckload of garlic. They are in absolute panic mode because they've looked at the numbers, and they know Ron Paul is the real front runner in the 2012 election. And they know that if he continues to catch on, even their electronic voting machines won't be able to stop a landslide. And if they did, the public would see right through it. So they have to convince you that he's unelectable. They have to sell you on the idea that, oh, I like Ron Paul, but he's not available. You know, he can't win. The fact that Ron Paul is the true front runner and is popular across the political spectrum, and major political analysts have had to admit that only Ron Paul can effectively beat Barack Obama. That's why the system is scared of him. And that illustrates how awake people are, that Ron Paul is the most popular, and if this was a fair game and wasn't rigged, would be our next president.
All you have to do is let your voice be heard.
Revolution, take us back the Constitution.